Hi everyone, welcome to Bonnie Caroline Makes Cards. Simon Says Stamp is kicking off STAMPtember with a brand new release. Today's card with its rainbow embossed background is the first of a few cards that I've made using the HEXAGON background stamp. I'm ready to stamp, and this is a foam-backed red rubber stamp and it is thick, so I've removed the insert from my MISTI. I'm stamping on Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound cardstock. I'm starting off with an oversized piece so that if there are any imperfections, when I trim it down to the A2 size, hopefully I can cut them off. I will be stamping my rainbow design with Distress Oxide inks. Each of the colors used is applied one at a time. The Post-it note tape masks off the stamp. I make sure that I choose a point that it's going to be placed on this repeated design as I work through the colors. Because the Distress Oxide inks take a while to dry, I'm able to do all of my stamping at once and then finish up with the clear embossing. I began my stamping with Dusty Concord and then worked through the rainbow colors with Mermaid Lagoon, Mowed Lawn, Carved Pumpkin, and finished up with Candied Apple. I made sure that the entire panel was well coated with clear embossing powder to lock in that color. I'm going to stamp a rainbow just to reinforce that theme. The arch stamps are used from Simon Says Stamps. Rainbow is my favorite color. I borrow some of the same colors that were used in the rainbow colored background. I start off with Candied Apple and then move on to Carved Pumpkin, Squeezed Lemonade, and Mowed Lawn. To get a nice, even, solid image, I do stamp each of the arches twice. Because I don't trust myself to line things up well, I actually leave the previous stamp in place, press the next stamp right up against it, remove the first one, ink it up, and stamp it. By using this little trick, all four arches are equal distance apart. Next, I fussy cut following the curves of the inside and the outside edges of the rainbow, leaving a little bit of white space. The panel was trimmed down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inches and then die cut with one of the stitched rectangle dies by Simon Says Stamp. This nesting die set is one of my favorites because of the double stitched border, one on the inner panel and then one on the border panel. Wanting the rainbow to have the same stitch detail as the panel, I position it first before die cutting it. After the rainbow was adhered, the panel was mounted on white sheet foam and then attached to, along with the border, to black cardstock before being adhered to an A2 size top folding card base. To add some sparkle to the card, the rainbow was painted with Nuvo Glitter Drops White Blizzard. I love this image from Simon Says Stamp Follow the Rainbows, and this was a perfect opportunity to use it again. It was stamped with Simon's Intense Black ink on Bristol Smooth cardstock and then clear embossed. The image will be colored with Zig markers using a little bit of water. Bristol Smooth is a good choice for this application as it can withstand water without pilling and warping. The coloring is very simple and straightforward. The coloring of the umbrella carries on the rainbow theme of the card. After the image is colored, it is fussy cut. To hide any cutting imperfections, I use a dark gray Copic marker to run along the edge of the image. With the body of the image masked, it is popped into the spatter box so that it can be spattered with watered down white gouache. I use a small brush so that I get fine spatter. The sentiment for this card is also from Follow the Rainbows. Like the main element, it is stamped with Simon's Intense Black ink and clear embossed. I like to use Simon's sentiment labels for any sentiment strips. It just ensures I've got everything nice and straight. After the ends are trimmed down, it's mounted on foam. I give the glue a couple of minutes to set up before I trim off the excess foam. Foam squares are used to give the image some dimension. They are trimmed down for some of the narrower areas. After the image is put in place on the card, the sentiment is adhered. The card is going to be finished off with Nouveau Crystal drops. I begin by placing a sequin in each band of color on the background. I find that by either using sequins or confetti, that the dome of the Nouveau drop is much more pronounced. After the sequins are adhered, I choose a color of Nouveau drops that matches the section of the background where the sequin is. I finish up with a little dot of black on the sequin that is in the middle of the umbrella. And that wraps up this rainbow card featuring a release from Simon's STAMPtember, HEXAGON Background. Be sure to check out all of the fabulous products in this release. As always, I appreciate your visit.